Hey there guys, welcome to the Slowpoke Run. Today I got a Dragapult Denial deck for you, which I saw something similar on Twitter, but I can't for the life of me remember who posted it. I'm so sorry. If you are watching this, feel free to message me and I'll give you full credit in the description for this. I sort of took their idea, rehashed it a little bit, gave it a little, changed it over a little bit, and I think we're actually onto a winner, which could be a really good pick for the OP League. And it's actually good across the board if you manage to bob and weave Eternatus. So let's have a look. Right, so here we got our build around Dragapult VMAX, 3 prizes with 320 HP with 2 attacks. First one, Shred, 1 for 60. His attack isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so you can hit an Altaria or a TCGO with that. Not too bad. And in all fairness, against those sort of decks, because we have so much energy now, we can actually probably stop them attacking and maybe shred our way to victory, not gonna lie. But then Max Phantom is our main build around though. For 2 Psychic Energies, you do 130 and you can spread 5 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So really nice consistent damage, setting up multiple prize turns, really start picking stuff off on the bench, you know, anything that's gonna might be starting to evolve, we can try and quickly finish it off and set up some multiple prize turns. Pretty cool. Now, the one downside to Max Phantom is it doesn't really two-shot many VMAX Pokemon, so we have to find a way of being able to slow them down a tiny bit just so we can maintain, you know, prize trade and that sort of stuff. So we are going to use Clefable for that. Now, if Mysterious Treasure was still a card, this deck would be bonkers. Let me tell you, it'd be really good in here. Clefable is a stage 1 Pokemon with 110 HP with an ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you can take an energy from your opponent's active and put it to the top of their deck. So this is 2 things, right? Number 1 is Energy Denial, right? And in combination with Crushing Hammer or Giratina that we also play, we can start taking off multiple energies in a turn with these Clefables, or even 2 Clefables. But it also stops your opponent from top decking anything good. And you can't understate that. In late game situations, if you can control your opponent's top deck and take an energy off at the same time, you can really start swinging games way back into your favor, because Dragapult tends to be a bit more of a combat deck anyway. Really cool, don't underestimate that. And in combination with Scoop Up Net, you can always start reusing the Clefable. If you have 2 Clefairies down, you can evolve, Net, evolve. That's 2 energies gone from your opponent's active and their top decking, and then, unless they can shuffle their deck, they are top decking 2 energies for the next 2 turns. Bonkers stuff. Don't underestimate how good this Clefable is. I mentioned that we're playing Giratina. Similar effect to Clefable. When you bench it, you can discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So stuff like Hides can get knocked off, Auroras if they're knocking about, anything like that you can just knock off with Giratina, or even random Heat Fire energies as well. We're playing Scoop Up Net, and we spread damage, so it would be silly not to play some Galarian Zigzagoon. We play 2 count of those. Headbutt Tantrum lets you spread damage. When you bench, you can put 1 damage counter on your opponent's one of your opponent's Pokemon, I should say. So, you know, if there's a basic Pokemon that benches 60 HP, you can bench Zigzagoon, put 10, Max Phantom 5 onto that, and you can KO it. Or, again, with Nets, you can start KOing Jacks on the bench with 1 Max Phantom. Pretty cool. We then play 2 Crobats so we can draw up consistency, and we play 1 Phione as well. So yeah, in combination with hammers and stuff, we actually have like a really cool comeback denial deck. But let's see it in action, shall we? Right, so it looks like we're going first. We lost the coin and our opponent's letting us go first. So chances are we're playing against some sort of welder deck, or an ADP that wants to try and pop off and get GX off turn 1. Now, if you're ADP, I don't agree with going second anyway, but chances are, if a Charizard deck box, we're playing against a welder. And that is what happens. So we lead Dragapult, we have energy, which is always nice, got a flurry of supporters. And we can actually Phione to push that Volcanion out of the active spot to hopefully prevent the Flare Starter. So that was a pretty good turn 1, in all fairness. Charizard's kind of scary, because obviously it can reach into 300 with 6 energy on it. We play into Outrage really nicely, and Flare Strike one-shots Dragapult V. So we need to evolve this Dragapult V if they start piling energies onto the Reshizard. But let's see what they do. So they Giant Half, they have a Welder. Let's see where they attach. They attach to active. We know that they might have another energy, so then they do have another energy. So they can double blaze us for 200 right now, which is super scary. They can outrage for 30. which is actually a really nice play for them as well, because if they outrage, that sets up enough damage to where they can welder for 2, attach, and then do a double blaze GX for 300, which would actually one-shot a Dragapult VMAX. So that is awfully scary. But hopefully, if we can hit heads on this crushing hammer, we can stop that from happening. So we have Marnie. I don't know if you want to get rid of 2 researches here. Houndoom V is a very nice looking card for a lot, that's for sure. So we have the crushing hammer, we hit heads, so we can stop that play, thank God. And we Marnie. I didn't want to get rid of 2 research and a stamp, all of which are going to be useful. We miss our evolution, but we do have some ways of digging. We can we can attach horror to active, giant half away, reset stamp. Hopefully find a VMAX. Woo! Again we do. So that got a little bit scary for a little bit there, but don't worry, old Crobat was here to save the day. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, when you play Dragapult, this is very much a thinking person's deck. Every damage counter really matters. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not clever enough to really think about every single damage counter. I think at this moment, so what I'm trying to work out is where are we, what is our prize map in here? They've put down 2 tag team Pokemon, so I think we're kind of safe to either target both of them down, or we can go for that Volcanion and the Crobat. Funnily enough, I think if you add up their HP, it's only slightly more to go for the Crobat and the Volcanion. They might be playing Jirachis and Nets, so you could argue that putting damage into Volcanion is riskier. I mean, they're playing a Houndoom, so they're already playing quirky stuff anyway. So I'm trying to work out exactly what to do here. You see, I'm trying to looks like we're going into the Charizard, so that's fine. So as you can see there, we have 320. So if we didn't hit heads on that hammer, they could just welder, attach, blown us up, and we're in a very bad position there. So I think if there's a catcher, oh boy, there's a heads, right? So they could, is that a KO with outrage? They could flare strike us for sure. There's a heat fire, so they've got 150 left. Okay, that's kind of annoying. Oh, they're 10 off the outrage KO. That's pretty close. So that means we cannot one shot. We can't KO this Reshizard because the heat fire. It's got 150. It had 130, so we had perfect maths with the Max Phantom. So that's actually kind of scary. But we do have some plays lined up for sure. Now, my friend was in a call with me, and we were sort of playing together, and we came up with a good plan. He said, if we manage to hit Clefable off this Marnie, we can try and remove the heat fire and then go for Max Phantom, or we can hit a crushing hammer as well. So we do have a potential out, but it's whether or not we hit it. If we do hit it, that is a super strong play for sure. So let's have a look, and we hit the Clefable and the hammer. So now we Marnie the hand away. I mean, they didn't really have a good hand by looks of it anyway, but we can Clefable, we control their top deck. So now we know their top deck's going to be heat fire, not the most useful of cards. You can argue that attaching energy there to a Crobat or Zigzagoon to have a free retreater, just in case something goes wrong, is kind of good, but I didn't do that. So now I'm trying to work out if spreading damage onto that Reshizard is a good idea, because I don't want to give them easy outrage damage for sure, right? We get bosses, which is pretty cool. We get Scoop Up Nets, we can reuse Clefable or Zigzagoon. We get 2 Scoop Up Nets. So. They promote Volcanion, and I just wanted to show like how crazy Clefable is. Clefable won us this game. I say Clefable was really good in this game. The denial of the Crush and Hammer heads stopped the Double Blaze GX term. So yeah, pretty good indeed. And we put this person under a lot of pressure. So they attached the Volcanion. It looks like they might be flare startering onto. They flare starter onto Reshizard. Which is pretty nice. So we can actually boss his orders up Crobat, I believe. So it's like we Scoop Up Net. Okay, and they concede on that, which was kind of interesting. I don't know why, they must have really not liked Clefable. But I wanted to leave that in there just to show you like how incredible Clefable is, and the Crushing Hammers, and how efficient Dragapult VMAX is in combination with those. I've got one more game for you lined up though. Let's have a look. Right, so we pick up this game. Tails never fails. except them, and Homemade Biscuit, one of the best attack usernames I've heard, is choosing whether to go first or second. Excuse me. So they're letting us go first, which is fine. All we want to see is Dragapult Energy, and this definitely isn't Dragapult Energy. We have Scoop Up Net though, so we can move this Clefable if needed. Hopefully we top deck something good. They haven't mulliganed, and we top deck Dragapult, so now I'm instantly okay. I mean, we haven't got another energy, but you know, maybe they Marnie. They actually lead Magnemite, so that's gonna make me think it's some sort of welder greens deck, and that's exactly what we see. We see the Regirock V there. I don't know, do the welder box decks play Regirock? I would have thought personally that Viperia is the better welder target, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Excuse me. So they greens. I think they got what, Switch and was it Spinner? I didn't quite see it, unfortunately. They get fighting. So that's how we know it's going to be a welder box-esque kind of deck. Luckily for us, welder box doesn't hit for dark type, I don't think. Doesn't hit for dark type. I can't think of a welderable dark type, but they quit well out of Victini, so then it looks like they're going to go for the victory, is it called victory sign? They have the fire energy because we know they spin it out. That's quite a nice little turn for them, so now they can attach what, fire fighting to the Regirock. We're not actually too worried about Regirock though. I mean, we resist. We get energy off the top. Wow, so we are living and dying by our what was I gonna say? Our okay, we didn't actually need to evolve Clefable there, so we're probably gonna KO. Well, we are gonna KO, so that's just us flexing a little bit and playing cards for no reason. We get heads on that hammer, which is clutch. Do we go 2 for 2? We don't go 2 for 2. We play our hand down to, well, I was gonna say our hand down to 0, but play our hand down to 1, and we max Phantom KO. Now, again, like in the last game, Regirock has like a revenge attack, not a revenge attack, a sort of outrage-esque attack. So I'm kind of tempted to I'm kind of hesitant about putting all damage on it, but then, so I actually end up putting 1 on the Magnemite, and that's just in case that Magnemite doesn't evolve into Magneton, we can ping it down next turn. So yeah, he goes into the Regirock, they go into Regirock, I apologize, and let's see what they do. They attach fighting. Oh, I guess technically thinking about it, there was a reason to do that Clefable, because then we know they're top decking energy. So I guess there was reason for that, which I think in that situation might be okay, because we want to like really stop them from the, you know, drawing. So I guess you could argue in that situation. Let me know what you think. Was using Clefable there worth it? Either way, they have Magneton in hand anyway, so we're not gonna make them their draw. They're gonna have 3 supporters they can play now, so that's the opposite of their drawing. There's the Viperia though. Viperia is a lot more scarier. Oh, they choose not to pop the Thingamabob, the Magneton. Again, we're controlling the top deck. Get rid of the fighting, and then we research. So, Viperia scares me a little bit more because it actually has energy disruption, and we're stuck at evolving once. Attaching 1 per turn. I'm just trying to see if we was to 60. Oh no, we're off KOing the Magneton. If we had a Scoop Up Net, we could Ziggy Net and then KO Magneton, I believe. But we can't do that, unfortunately. So I think we're safe to just pile on all damage onto Viperia, because that, yeah, if we had Ziggy Net, we could have done that. But so I think we're fine to just pile all damage onto Viperia. Or we can go to Regirock, that's fine. I'm assuming that's a mass fixer. At the time, I would have worked it out. I can't tell you now, though. Was it a mass fixer? Let's have a look. 180 to no. So what I was doing there was, if we can get hold of Phione, we can push the Regirock to the bench, and then finish it off with the max Phantom 50. So that's why I put the 10 on the active. So I know I'm not just a pretty face. Sometimes I do think. I promise, guys. So let's have a look. So they play their Magneton. Malolana, oh, I was going to say, they're not playing Malolana. But Malolana could have actually been really interesting, so they could have searched it off the greens, obviously. We take a prize card, going to 4. There's the net, unfortunately. I turned too late. So there's a Surge. There's a greens. Let's see what the greens out here. Let's have a look. We are behind on prizes, so we can activate their karate belts for sure. I don't quite know what if they have any sort of combination of greens cards that would sort of pull this game back off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but Let's see. I'm intrigued to see, because as a greens player myself, greens are one of my favorite decks to play. So if you can put greens and ADP in the same deck, greens ADP last format. Oh, I used to love that for sure. Looks like they're taking their time. This is on like what, 110% speed as well. So they are really taking their time. Let's see what they pick. I'm really intrigued. We know they Karate Belt Giant Half. Okay, that makes sense. So they replace our stadium. I'm not sure. What is the reason to play? And they actually get rid of their Cynthia Caitlyn to Giant Half. That's interesting. Maybe they have a welder in hand. They do have a welder in hand. So I'm guessing the reason they took so long is that they decided to change their line of play, which is fair enough. Cable of Toughness is interesting. I don't think that affects Max Phantom damage, but what it does do is stop us. If we did have access to Phione or bosses, it does stop that play where we could finish it off with a 50 bench now. So that was a pretty clutch draw there for sure. I don't know if they got it off the welder, but as it stands now, I think we're safe to evolve, attach energy to bench, and then switch and just take a KO. We can probably play the Scoop Up Net as well, so we can start taking off energy off the Rhyperior when it hits the active, obviously, because we KO this for 130 and then 50 on the bench right here. And our opponent's in a super tough spot now. Like, I can't quite see an out for them. There's a boss, it's not that it really matters. So how much health has that geezer got left? 130. So, and he's already attached a Karate Belt to the Rhyperior, so they cannot attach a Cape of Toughness. So I guess their out now is to drill one and hope that we don't have energy. That is their best out. We actually got a double horror set and there to concede, so obviously we put them in a super tough spot. So as you can see, Dragapult VMAX, this sort of engine is really good at just stopping your opponent from getting set up, and we can just dissect their board really efficiently. Let's have a look at the list. Right, so here is the full list. A 4-3 on the Dragapult VMAX. You could argue like going up to a 4-4 is better, but we do have quite a few Pokemon and communications, so I think I'm fine with a 4-3. 3-2 on the Clefable. You could argue that's a little bit low, but we only need to see the Clefable once, and then we can just net it all the time, so it doesn't end up leaving our hand too often. One Giratina, that's super good against like sort of like Center Scorch, and eternatus for high energy. Any special energy really is quite nice. And when you've got, it's a 1 retreat pivot also kind of as well. So that's pretty. When you're playing nets, it's just nice to have. I think you'd be silly not to. You could argue like a Mewtwo Mine Report in here could actually be pretty decent as well, thinking about it. 2 Zigzagoons. Phione is super cool in Dragapult VMAX because you can like push something to the bench, finish it off with the 50 snipe. 4 hammers, 4 Pokemon, 2 reset stamp. We are a proper combat deck here for sure. In most circumstances, our first Dragapult VMAX will probably get carried. We want to try and come back, stamp or Marnie, hammer, and start picking up our opponent's board that way. 3 switch, 2 Galar Mine, so we can hopefully like, you know, gust trap something potentially, start sniping around. 4 bosses orders, 4 Marnie, 4 research, 4 horror, and 7 basic psychic energy. But let me know what you think. Are you still playing Dragapult VMAX? You trying to bob and weave eternatus with it? Do you actually think it has decent matchups across the board? Zacian can't one-shot it, so you know you can stay in those games. It's actually got a decent matchup spread across the board as well, outside of eternatus. And the reason why I'm playing it a bit is because I'm trying to work out if it's good enough to pick potentially for an OP league fixture. But thank you for watching. If you watched this far, you might as well hit that subscribe button. That means you obviously like my videos. Like, I do deck profiles. I've got a new video series with our current TCG World Champion, where he's going to help us all get better at the game and help me stop being a bit of a silly. We've got pack openings, deck profiles, all sorts going on. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and check around. But thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you all next time.